Hi, welcome to Watch Moths Fall. Can't believe we've been doing this for 4 months, but the weather has suddenly become autumnal, and we're going to wait and see to see what that means in terms of our moths. But tonight we are having a program where ecosystems and energy collide, where the art and the science mix, where our fascination for moths is explained and explored. And it's all part of a project called Moths to a Flame by the Art and Energy Collective, which is tonight. It's myself and Chloe and Jenny. So the three of us are part of that. So we have been funded by the Arts Council and Plymouth Energy Community for tonight and this series of programmes, and we're very grateful to that. To start with, I think we'd like to meet all the presenters. We've got an evening brimming full of energy, and I think our presenters are as well. So we'll be introducing them briefly, and they'll be waving at you so you know them. So we have Jenny Ayrton.
Hello.
We have Chloe.
Hang on a minute, wait a minute. Sorry, I've forgotten to remove the spotlight. There we go. Hi, I'm Jenny.
Yeah. And Chloe Uden, who's one of the art, and with Felix and Hector. We've got Claire Maines from Plymouth Energy Community.
Good evening.
We've got Mary Yates from the Solar Education.
Hey there.
Yeah, hi Mary. Simon Bates, our expert mother in his garden.
Oh, hello everybody. Not so the expert, Naomi.
All right. You're more expert than us. You've been really good. Don Walters, entomologist and moth expert as well, who's been working with us. Amy Walkden and a new presenter called Robin. Hello. Hi. And we have, last but not least, missing Dave Barker, who's got a film on later, and he's got a family celebration to be with, but we'll be seeing him in his film when he's talking about energy too. So tonight and tomorrow's programme, we've got a double bill tonight. We'll be starting off tonight with energy and looking at solar panels and looking at landscapes full of energy. And then we'll be moving on from that into the art and into the moth experts. But actually, we'll also be introducing the Plymouth, what's it called? The Plymouth Art Weekender, where we have an installation and an exhibition. But the very first thing we want to do, though, is to introduce our new presenter called Robin and her mother presenter Mother called Amy, and they're going to introduce us to what they've got on at the moment. Over to Amy.
Okay, over to us. Hello everyone, I'm Amy.
Hi.
And this is Robin, and we've been fortunate enough to be involved with Moths to Flame, Watch Moths and Art and Energy. Well, apart from last month, I've been at the all the sessions and really enjoyed it. And we were sorry to miss the last one because I know it was focused very much around art, and I probably got into thinking about moths really through quite a famous piece of art that features a moth in it. And when I saw it, I thought, what is it? What does it mean? And I wanted to know more about it. So I'll talk more about that in a minute, but I'm just going to show you our moth trap first, which has been set up already because it's dark and cold. And normally we're sitting outside doing this, but we didn't. We bottled it tonight because it's just too cold. And I'm going to just turn the camera around if I can. Give me a minute, please. I don't think I can at the moment. Not sure how to do it. Anyway, there's the moth trap out there, glowing away. and it's very cold and it's quite windy. So what did we think we might catch tonight, Robin?
Some green flies.
Maybe some crane flies, yeah.
Crane flies. I just get confused them.
So we might get some crane flies.
I get confused them.
Yeah. So just going to, yeah, it does. It looks like an alien spaceship.
Outside.
It's freezing. So I'm going to turn the camera around and just talk a little bit about a certain picture that I love and got me into moths. And it's this one here. Right, check the camera. For anyone that knows a little bit or anything about pre-Raphaelite art, this is quite a famous picture called The Hireling Shepherd by William Holman Hunt. And you can't, it looks like quite sort of bucolic scene really, but he's holding in his hand there a moth. They've done a close-up of it here on this blog that I follow. There it is. Anybody know what that moth is?
Well, it's got a skull on it.
It has got a skull on it. So yes, that is a death's head hawk moth, and it was that sort of got thought, well, what on earth? What possible reason would a moth have to have a picture of a skull on it? What do you think, Robin?
What the name about it is from like the skull on its back. Well, it's kind of like a human skull in the face. Yeah. The face skull, and it's on its back, and that's why it must be called.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what we know it as, because people, what we see are bones and what we see are skulls. But in actual fact, and I'm just going to read a small extract from this marvellous book, which I know I have talked about before, but this goes right into the naming of moths, which I always like to find out because it just is a good way of it sticking. And it says, what is the biological purpose of carrying an impression of a human skull on your back like a Hell's Angel? It seems the resemblance is accidental. Where we see bones, a bee might see a friendly face. The moth invades the nests and hives of bees to lick up the honey with its short but powerful proboscis. Its old name was the bee tiger, for just as the moth robs bees, it also has a tiger-striped abdomen. So it's part of its defense system. It's meant to look like a bee, so if a bee comes across it and thinks, oh, it's all right, it's just a bee. Yes, Robin?
I just like to use my way up glasses.
Okay. So anyway, that's a little bit of something there about the very, very beautiful. I've never actually seen one in real life. Maybe John has, maybe Simon has, I don't know. And the other thing we're just going to show you before we go, because I know we've only got 5 minutes, is some caterpillars. Robin, you're going to try and pick one of these guys up?
Okay.
So these are the very last two that haven't burrowed yet. Now, anyone that remembers one of the programs in the spring, we found some eggs on some honeysuckle, some buff ermine caterpillars. Now, those we reared into caterpillars, and then they burrowed into the soil like these ones do. And then they came early and the adults hatched. The adults mated, left some more eggs for us, and these are the babies of those. And they are a bit sleepy at the moment. Robin, do you want to pick one up and just show it to the camera? But
these put it in my hand, like normal.
Okay, hang on a minute. He's going for a walk. There he goes. He's a bit sleepy now. Can you hold it up to the camera so everyone can see? This is a buff ermine caterpillar.
Why is there?
It's very hairy, Amy, isn't it? It's very hairy.
It's very hairy, yeah. And it's just
actually two poos.
Robin got the poos. There we go.
Oh, no.
So that's those will, and they're just getting ready to now. They're just having another
snack. I go wash my hands.
I think, yeah, maybe do that. And they were just eating some dandelions, and they are going to look, I'm going to turn my camera and I'll show you what they're going to look like when they're grown up in the spring. Just flip it around again quickly for you. So there we go. That's the buff ermine. And these ones, interestingly, might not have any spots on them because their parents didn't. So we shall see what they're like in the spring when they eventually emerge. But there we go. That's a little bit of moth news for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very well.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, and thank you very much. And it's nice to meet you properly, Robin, and we look forward to your reveal in the morning then.
Yes, fingers crossed we might get at least a moth. Yeah.
Yes. Yet another yellow underwing from the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks. So we say bye-bye to Amy and we say hello to Chloe and her boys, Hector and Felix, who are busy.
Hi everyone. So we are very excited. Yeah. We've got an exhibition at the moment at the Plymouth Art Weekender of a display of moths. Lots of people know that as part of our Moths to Flame project, we're going to be making thousands of moths and taking our messages up to COP26 in November next year. And yeah, the United Nations Conference on Climate Change.
What?
That's happening next year in November.
I thought you said Area 51.
Well, I didn't.
Oh, Area 51, you get aliens.
No, thank you. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be showing you as we go along, is making some of the moths.
One of these guys.
Making some of the moths to go into the exhibition. So Hector and Felix, please can you open up? Can you open up your moth pack and show people what is inside?
This is the skin to make the
So we have some glue and some paint. What have you got?
I've got a pen.
A pen.
And
oh yes, very importantly.
And a pen.
We have some instructions.
And
yeah.
And what is that?
I have no idea, but it's like a bag.
What's inside the bag?
It's a beauty bag.
What's inside?
It's the body and wings.
The body and wings. So,
all right.
What we're going to be doing is following the instructions. And we're going to make some of these moths over the next bit of time. So the first step is to get all of the pieces out and then to glue the body and to the wings and the antennae.
Oh yeah, I've seen you do this, Mum.
Yeah, you have seen me do this. So the next time we see you, hopefully we'll have some moths to show you ready to decorate.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Chloe. And thank you very much. And now we move on to something rather more serious, maybe, but as I said before, this programme is going to be overflowing and it's brimming with energy, as you've noticed from the young uns. But now we have Claire Mains, who's from the Plymouth Energy community, who is going to talk to us about their work and energy and how we use it and something about the future. So let's hand over to Claire and we'll see what he has to say.
I don't know how I follow that. I feel like I should go upstairs and wake Marnie up. Just bring her downstairs to show
her. It's great having the youngsters with us as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. So I was going to give a bit of a context for Moths to a Flame and the work that we've been doing. And it won't be death by PowerPoint, I absolutely promise you. But there is a PowerPoint just to assist it along a little. So Jenny, can you bring it up? Wonderful. Do I have control of it? That's fantastic. Thank you. So I work with Plymouth Energy Community and we're a charity. And I just wanted to talk a bit about what we do, and I'm going to start with some unfathomably huge themes like climate, energy and social justice, but then what I want to do is bring it back down to what we're doing here and now and why it's so important. I was told I can click and you're not to panic because it takes a while for it to catch up. I'm gonna remain faithful there, Jenny. Yay! There we go. So these are, you're all familiar with these. We see these pictures all the time on the news increasingly. Climate is changing. The one on the bottom obviously hasn't happened yet, so don't worry, you haven't missed anything dramatic in the news on that one. But it can be all very overwhelming. The Paris Climate Agreement set a target to try and keep the temperature change to below 1.5 degrees. And we know that we need urgent action and we know it's unprecedented. And that can leave you feeling a little bit lost. So I just wanted to give you an overview really of a movement that is coming together to help people find something to do and to feel like they're participating. Jenny, can you go on to the next one? It says I'm controlling it, but I'm not. It's community energy, which is what Plymouth Energy community is part of. We're part of that movement. And it's one of the many movements bringing people together. The organisations that fall under that category, by the way, are many and varied and all over the UK. The definition of them is just there. So it's controlled or partly wholly owned by communities. But importantly, it's where people feel that they share the benefits and they've got some say in how things happen and you're actively involved. You feel a connection with it, basically. And I don't know whether you know much about community energy or whether you've got one in your local area. I don't know about you, Leeds, but I'm just about to bring a map up so you can have a look. Jenny, if you can go on to the next one. So there are loads of them now. So this is the state of the sector 2020. It's based on 2019 figures, actually. But now there's 300 community energy organisations, and they're CICs, some are charities, some are cooperatives, and you can see the spread there. So they are far and wide, and they're making a real difference, more than you might think. If you go on to the next slide, you can have a look at some of the milestones that were reached last year. If you have a look at there, I mean, there's community-led energy storage projects. There's low carbon transport projects. Obviously, there's solar installations, which we've been a part of. The economic benefit that it's bringing in is huge. So it really is making a difference. And the figure that I really love on this image here is down towards the bottom right there. And can you see that 234,000 people, just like me and you, getting involved and actually trying to do something and hopefully feeling a little less lost in the process. So what do we do? Because I said community energy is quite varied. So we have an overarching aim, and that's to help people create a fair, affordable and zero carbon energy system. And we want local people to be at the heart of that. And it sort of branches into three, really. And the first branch of that is to tackle the problem of cold homes and fuel poverty. And we do an awful lot of work on that. We also want to increase local ownership. And we happen to do that through share offers with solar, and then also increase community confidence to take part and engage in energy issues, because it can either be a dry subject or a terrifying subject depending on your point of view. So I'll start with the first one, cold homes. Cold homes and fuel poverty. We have an energy team. There are 7 advisors who offer free support and one-to-one advice, and also community education, just so that people can become more resilient. That's our aim. Our aim is not to make people reliant on the services we provide, but to help people understand it and to take part and to take some control back in it. If you go on to the next slide, you'll see some of the wonderful people, past and present, who've helped us to deliver that service, and they have enough come up with some pretty incredible results. The next slide will there you go. So 21,000 households we've reached so far, and that's resulted in almost £2 million worth of benefit for those residents, and that can be anything from unclaimed welfare benefits that we've supported people to get, to entire heating systems, gas central heating put in, boilers. They're navigators, really. We put together a jigsaw of help that can be really confusing for people, so that they can make their circumstances better and for the long term. And I think that final bullet point sort of shows why it's such an important thing to do. 88% of the people that we've helped through casework say they feel physically or mentally better in their own health. That image there, by the way, was from one of our very first creative projects that we did, called Cold Realities, whereby people showed us what being in fuel poverty meant to them. Because it often comes with shame. You don't always want to be in those kind of pictures, but it did wonderful work for raising awareness and changing mood. So that's the first element of the things that we look after. And the next one is increasing local ownership. And we did that through a number of share offers. So investors were residents, or you could be from anywhere around the country, invest anywhere from £50 up to 100,000. And that enabled us to put solar installations on community buildings and on schools. They would then benefit from the reduced price for the power. The feed-in tariff would go to a community benefit work, which meant that we were paying for the good work that we were doing on the other side. That model was wonderful while it lasted. It's not so easy to do now. But in the time that we had the feed-in tariffs and the conditions were good, if you go on to the next slide, you'll see that we managed to put in 33 of those solar installations all across Plymouth. The top left there, the big number 1. If you go on to the next slide, I'll introduce you to that. That's Ernie. So this is Ernesettle, up in the northwest of the city. It's a ground-mounted solar, and we're quite aware that there's some controversy around agricultural lands being reclaimed and used for that sort of thing. This isn't. This is MOD land, former landfill, and within a blast zone. So there really was nothing else that you could do with it. It's got 4.1 megawatt ground-mounted solar there, and it's also 18 acres of wildflower meadow now, which we're incredibly proud of. It sits right next to the water, actually, and when you're at the top of Ernesettle Lane and you're looking down, it looks like the water has just come in a pool. It's really rather beautiful. It's the city's largest solar array, so that's what we've been doing to help increase people's feelings of ownership in the energy market and how it's changing. And then the last thing that we work on, which is really where this comes in, is increasing the community's confidence to engage in energy. Because like I say, it's either seen as dry or not for me, or I don't understand it. But it affects so much of what we do. It affects our life every day. It's the climate, it's the environment that we live in, it's how it affects the nature and the creatures that are around us. And we also like to provide an opportunity for people to have fun, which I'm hoping you're finding these Watch Moth events. And also a lot of the work that we do with art and energy is just about getting stuck in and exploring. So hopefully, I know it's a whistle-stop tour, but I really hope that's given you a bit of context for why we're doing this sort of thing, and maybe even made you a little bit curious about whether you've got a community energy organisation in your part of the country.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
Thanks. No, it's lovely. It's much. Hopefully, everybody's a lot clearer now about Plymouth Energy Community and why they're working with us. We're very pleased that they are. We wouldn't be doing any of this without them. So thank you. Thanks. And it's brilliant you've finished on Ernesettle then, because we're going to now go over to Mary Yates, who's part of the solar power education team who takes schools onto Ernesettle, and she's going to take us on a little tour around it to talk about how the panels actually work. So Mary, are you there? And is Jenny managing to get Mary and the next film? Or have we there we are. We're going to go straight into the film then, which
the solar array, and you can see the bridge there, look, over the Tamar. And I'm turning around and here's Mary.
Hello, welcome to Ernesettle's solar array, part of Plymouth Energy Community. It's an 18-acre site and it powers about 1,228 homes a year. It saves 2,200 tonnes of carbon. We've got 2 weather stations here and many more things. So what I'm going to do is take you on a very brief whistle-stop tour of how energy is produced on a farm such as this. So first of all, the number 1 place in our journey is the sun. Right. Regardless of whether we can see it or not, yeah, it's a bit grey today. Anyway, yeah, it's producing plenty of light. Now we need the light from the sun, not the heat. In fact, the solar panels quite like it when it's cool and bright rather than a hot sunny day. So number 1 in our journey is the sun, and the light travels and it hits our amazing solar panels. The solar panels are made of silicon and glass, and they have various metal wires inside. There are 15,840 of these on this site. And they're all at 20 degrees, which on this site is the perfect angle to get the most benefit from our sunlight. Now, number one, sun. Number two, hits the panel. Behind the panels is where all the magic happens. So if we just whiz across and go behind the panels, okay, and you'll see that the field is very much alive underneath. Lots of spiders live under here too. So every panel is linked by a wire. Okay, so this is where the magic happens, and the wires are all joined together in what we call a string, and a string might have 24 panels attached to each other. So the strings all go along to the next journey, okay, next thing, which is the combiner box. And underneath the combiner box we can see that all of those strings, so this one here has got 12 lots, I think, in this one of 24 panels. So all the power in this side here is 24 panels times by 12, and another 12 lots of 24. So all of that power is going into this combiner box. So this is number 3 on our journey. So sun, panel, combiner box. You hear a train in the distance. All right, then we head underground under our wild field. Lots of species going on here. And we head across to the inverter station. Now it's gone a bit quieter than it was just now. The sun was out just now and this was humming away over here. And there are 53 of these inverter boxes, and inverter suggests that obviously they change the electricity from direct current coming straight off the panels to alternating current. All right, and if you come really close, you can see, and what I'll often show the children, is the data on these panels.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that will show you live what's going on the set of panels that are attached to this particular inverter. They're all coded so that if ever anything broke or anything needed to be isolated, then the engineers could be called and they would know exactly what panels to switch off and so on. Highly safe. So as you can see, lots and lots of wires coming under here, and these are containing all the electricity coming in through those. So as I said, there are 53 of these. They're humming backwards and forwards, and this is all the power being produced right now. All of this data can be viewed live by engineers. The German company can actually have a look at this, and as can the engineers in Plymouth. They can have a look and see what's going on. PEC have access to see how much is being generated right now. When it's sunny, these are humming away like mad. The next place we go to is number 5, and this is the transformer stations. Now this site is big enough to have 2 transformer stations. Now obviously we can't go in there. As you can see, there are danger of death signs, because these increase the voltage from 240 to 3,300 volts. So it really ramps up the power, ready for the next part of the journey. Now the next part of the journey is actually just outside the solar farm itself, which is what you might find anywhere around your houses really, is the substation. And this substation connects this solar farm to the national grid. And then obviously from there, the national grid is basically the superhighway for electricity that takes the electric to the customers and to your home and businesses.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. That was a really good tour, wasn't it, Claire? It's good. And you're still in, Claire, you're in a great big screen picture on my computer here, which is
I'm sorry about that,
nice.
Naomi.
No, it's very nice. So Mary has taken us around Ernesettle looking at how solar panels work, and tomorrow we'll look a little bit more at the biodiversity within the site, which will be great. But next we have Dave Barker, who is another moth expert and a naturalist, and he is really interested in the landscape where he works. He works on a farm on the outskirts of Plymouth, and he thought, given the weather was so bad on that night I was down there filming at Ernesettle, he thought that he would make a little film about the energy flow in a landscape. So we've had the sun's energy coming to the solar panels, but next we've got the energy around his farm. We'll have a look and see what he has to say.
Welcome to our little farm in South Devon. My name's Dave, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm an independent ecologist, woodsman and environmental educator here in South Devon. I've been invited today by the Moths to the Flame team to talk a little bit about energy and how that relates to the natural environment, and specifically about the energy flow that is found in these systems. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is do a bit of a walk and talk, and if I see things that are relevant as I walk across the farm, I can point those out to you. So first thing first, when it comes to energy flow, as an ecologist, what we're really talking about is the calorific flow of energy through the food chain. And an easy way to probably get your head around this is a small little term that we have and use here on the farm, and that is everything is food for something. So hopefully that makes a little bit of a sense. So the most abundant energy that we can find on this planet actually comes from the sun. So a quick rundown on how this works. So energy coming from the sun is then principally used by what we call primary producers in ecology, and these primary producers are these lovely big green things around me, the trees and the grass and you know, the shrubs. All these are collecting the sunlight and they're utilizing that lovely raw energy coming from the sun. Secondly, we have what we call our primary consumers, and the primary consumers are all the animals that actually feed on these lovely green things. So they can be anything from a big elephant down to a moth caterpillar, let's say. That's very relevant. So sunlight, trees, animals that eat the trees and plants. Okay, so next we have what we call our secondary consumers, and these are all the animals that actually then consume the animals that consume the plants. So we're talking the omnivores, and we're talking mainly the predators. So sunlight, trees, elephant eat trees, you know, lions eat elephants. There you go. So you're starting to see this flow of energy, the calorific sort of like flow in the food chain that I was talking about earlier. So after the carnivores, what do you get then? What we call then, we have tertiary consumers. Sorry, I have to think about that then. So the tertiary consumers are literally, they'll be your apex predators. So they might be, you know, your eagles, your pack of wolves, you know, that sort of thing. I did mention lions earlier. They would probably be tertiary consumers, and they'd be sort of predating upon other things like hyenas and the smaller sort of carnivores. So backtracking there a little bit. So, and then the next step on from that would be your decomposers. So they'll be the ones who actually the final link of the food chain, and they'll be recycling as much as the energy from this what we call a trophic cascade through the food chain back into the soil to be then used by the primary producers, the plants and the trees again. So hopefully you're seeing there an energy flow through the landscape, mainly to do with the biosphere. So how do we relate this to biodiversity? So as you can probably imagine, most of the sunlight on the planet hits at the equator, so that's where you find most sunlight, and funny enough, that's where you find most biodiversity. So you could say that the equator on this planet is the place where there's most energy flow going on. so that can also then translate to our small little country here. So if you understand that the more biodiversity there is, the more energy flow there is, you can therefore then say where you have biodiversity hotspots in the country, whether those are nature reserves, you know, sort of estuaries, certain areas that are being sort of rewilded now. So they're going to be your energy hotspots. What's not going to be an energy hotspot is actually quite a lot of farmland, because a lot of the biodiversity and those processes have been taken away. So, you know, when you hear people talking about farmland as ecological deserts, you could then sort of translate it as they're also energy deserts. So hopefully this is making a lot of sense. There are different energy flow systems. You have also the geothermal, the tectonic systems. You obviously have the water cycle, then other energy flow systems on the land. But primarily my main domain is the ecology and this trophic cascade, and actually trying to promote that as much as possible. So, you know, energy does equate to life on the planet. So the more life we have, the more energy we have flowing, and the more abundance and well-being we have on the planet, for both the wildlife and for us people, because, you know, we are, you know, primary consumers and secondary consumers. So we act to the best of both worlds, really. Obviously we can't eat the grass, but we can eat the animals that eat the grass, if that's your thing. We're primary consumers because we eat nuts and berries, and we're secondary consumers, as I said, being carnivores and omnivores, more like. So hopefully that's explained a little bit more about energy flow for people. If there's any questions, please come back to me. Hopefully I'll be able to tune in when this goes out live. If not, I can always reply to messages that are passed on to me. Anyway, hope everybody's having fun and enjoying the moths, and yeah, see everybody soon. Okay, cheers then, bye-bye.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Dave. I like the idea of looking at the land and the world through an energy lens, and seeing it translated from the sun into nature, as well as from the sun into solar panels for energy for humans. I like the two working together. It's good to hear that message. And so from the rich life and full of energy, how are you getting on, Chloe?
Hello everyone! It is rather bonkers here, as you can imagine. We've been really enjoying listening to what everyone's had to say, and we particularly enjoyed a conversation about transformers when we were talking about the solar site, which was awesome. So where we've got to, we stuck our moths together and we pegged them together. And Felix, what have you done?
So what I've done is...
Do you want to show a bit?
Yeah. So I've made my moth here.
You can show it to them.
So
you haven't finished the decorating, have you?
Yeah.
What have you actually done? People aren't going to be able to see it, are they? What's the thing that they're not going to be able to see?
The black markers and the wood.
Okay. And some paint.
Yeah, but they will see the glow in the dark. Let me show you.
No, not yet. Not
no,
yet.
we're going to see that at the end.
Hector, do you want to say how you're doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Yeah.
So you stuck your body together and you've painted some glow-in-the-dark paint onto it, and you've now moved on to add in your decorations.
Great. So we'll see that at the very end then.
We'll see that at the very end.
Great. Okay, good. Now we move on to our a moth person who's been outside feeling the cold, probably, Simon, in the garden, waiting for us. Are you there, Simon? Or have you given up? Are you there? Or shall we move on to another moth person?
I can't see him at the moment.
Oh, he's gone off. Okay, well, shall we, if Simon's not there at the moment, shall we see John? Can we see John? And
yeah, I'm here.
Great, I'm glad you're there. You're indoors. You haven't been eaten by the wolves and the hyenas.
No, not that I've noticed. There aren't many around here.
Oh, how are you, John?
Very well, thanks.
Good. And have you got some interesting snippets to show us.
I have, yeah. I have you, Jenny. Have you got pictures? That I've got a little bit of video and a photograph as well. A couple of pictures. I don't know if you can find those.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with the video, and then I'll put the pictures on for you to talk over. So,
we're starting with the video. This is a hummingbird hawk moth, which has been visiting our garden over the last week. This is a migrant moth, sometimes mistaken for a hummingbird, but it is in fact a moth. And these small moths, actually, they're proper migrant moths. They fly out from the Mediterranean, North Africa, that sort of area. They come here in the early summer. They breed here, and some others turn up this time of year as well. But a lot of the moths, like that one, is quite a fresh-looking moth, and it would have probably hatched in this country. And then at this time of year, it will feed up, and then it will actually fly across the Channel, and then fly right down in through Spain, over the Pyrenees, and then down into the Mediterranean to spend the winter. Another moth, which is actually come the other way, but also does a similar migration, is this thing, the convolvulus hawk moth. And if you remember last month, when I had all my convolvulus plants and I was hoping to see one, well, I set them up just outside my office window, and after there'd been a few reports of the moths around, I was sitting working here, and suddenly I noticed by the window there was a moth. So I dashed outside, and I could watch the convolvulus hawk moth feeding on the Nicotiana flowers. Now this moth is amazing. It's got a 14-centimetre long tongue. So it's the only moth really that can actually get into those flowers. You can see its great big long tongue there. And the following night it came back, and so I sat out and waited for it. And it's the only moth that really you can hear it before you even see it. It arrives at dusk, and they're also known as the grey ghost, which I like that name. They just appear in the twilight, just as it's getting dark. You get these grey ghosts suddenly appear, and you hear this whir of wings, and then it's in front of you, and it's sipping all the nectar out of the flowers, and then it's gone again into the darkness. But it's I spent a long time looking after those plants, actually hours and hours growing them from tiny seeds. All for a few minutes, but if it works, it's really worth all that effort just to see that moth in your garden. Absolutely fantastic thing to see.
So who out of the crowd is going to grow those Nicotiana plants next year then? I am.
I should have lots of seeds, so if anyone wants to get in touch with me a bit later in the year, and I can send you some seeds.
That would be great. Yeah, and we don't mind distributing some of those if people do want those.
That's fine.
Then at some point next year, maybe we have this great gathering of all the convolvulus hawk moths. Pictures,
good,
competition and pictures.
The record. There's a place on the Isles of Scilly, a little garden on St Agnes, where they sometimes get huge numbers of these moths. And a friend of mine was there a few years ago when there was a big invasion of the moths, and there were 50 coming into the garden at dusk each night to feed on some ginger lilies. And that must have been an amazing sight to see.
Yeah. So, I could just picture all these sort of ghostly whirring creatures coming in at once. And with Dave's description, a very energetic site full of the biodiversity.
High power. They're really high octane moths. They need all that energy there. They really are. Show you how much energy there is out there, really, that they can feed up, and then they can fly. Actually, I think to start with, the caterpillar produces a lot of fat, which goes into the pupa, and that's what the moth uses to power itself. It can fly for a couple of days non-stop and end up, taken by the wind, and they'll end up here. Then when they're here, they need to fuel themselves up every night. So then they'll find a patch of Nicotianas or something similar and feed on that. They will lay their eggs, these ones, but the eggs won't survive because it'll get too cold here. But they're opportunists. So these moths are spread all over the world, because if there's any slight change in the climate that's happening now, they're in there straight away. They're not miles away. They're cosmopolitan moths, really. So they can go right down into Australia, right across Africa, all over the world, really.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. It's a good moth to feature, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Where you've taken a film of your moth trap in the good weather.
That's right. Yeah, I did it last weekend. Yeah, when it was a bit nicer. So I caught quite a lot of moths. Actually.
Yeah, great. And we look forward to that. And in contrast, I think Simon did appear because I saw him on our chat. And is he there now?
He's
in the cold.
Possibly. I think he's on his way.
Is he? Hello, Simon. Sorry.
Oh, you're muted.
You're also a bit silent. You need to unmute your.
Oh, sorry, it's my fault. Hang on a minute.
Oh, is it?
I've got to make him co-host. Because he disappeared and came back in again. There we go.
There we are. Hello. He's still a silent person.
Hit me now.
Oh, there you are.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Hooray! We can hear you now. So, out of all our mothers this evening, you're the only gutsy one outside.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe foolhardy. What I'm going to do is I was on my way to look at my sugar stripes that I've painted onto some of the trees around here in Exeter. I'm stood under a street light at the moment, so the light's not brilliant, but I'm after this beastie here.
Oh yeah, there've been a few of those around the country, haven't there?
Yes, that's right. It's a wonderful moth. It's called the Clifton nonpareil without parallel. It's a huge moth with beautiful lilac blue underwings. And yeah, they used to be resident in the southeast of the country in the 1930s. The caterpillars feed on aspen and other poplar trees, but they went extinct, but they've come back. And this year, there have been quite a few sightings, not by me yet, unfortunately, but a friend just up the road, lucky chap, put his moth trap out, first time in his new garden, and boom, first thing he found was Clifton array. So what I'll do is I'll log off now, and I'll keep going on over to my oak trees and see if I've got anything to show you.
Okay, shall we wait for you to get there?
Yeah, I'll message you if I've got something.
Okay. And we'll go over to Chloe, and then we'll come back to you then.
Okay, great.
All right. Okay. I hope you find something, Simon. And we're back to Chloe and Felix with a peg.
My wing. Oh, there's something I need to show you.
No,
Mom.
No, wait. We're going to focus on.
It's funny.
It might be funny. How about this? First, fine. Obviously we have made some glow-in-the-dark moths, but we don't want to turn the lights off. So I have a dark light, which I'm hoping is going to show you what the boys have done. So we're turning it on. Can you hold yours up, Hector, so that you can see? Lift it up, lift it up. Can you see that? Yeah.
Definitely glow in the dark.
Felix, can you show your one? That's Felix, will show your one.
Well done.
Here we go. So these are now ready to join our whisper of moths that are going to be taken up to class.
Yeah, and
we may well add them to the display that we've got in Plymouth at the moment. So I'm hoping that I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to entice people to come along and have a go at looking at what we've made. Oh, okay, so now we're looking at these in the dark. The boys have decided that that's what they want to do. Okay.
There we are. Oh, beautiful. And that's, we have displayed, we've got about 400 on display in the Plymouth Art Week and Caterpillar Room. And you've also painted yourself. I like that. Yes. and they can come to Glasgow. Claire is asking everyone, can they come to Glasgow? I think she means the boys or the butterflies. I mean the moths. Yes. And somebody else is asking, where do they get the kit? Well, in a not very distant future, we will have those kits in our shop for sale, won't we? Yes.
We will have them in the shop. So we have 20 kits in Plymouth, and we're going to have another 30 kits in our shop in the next few days. And then, yeah, we have a shop on our website, and we've got Miranda's lovely book, and we're going to have some of these moth making kits, and also the activity pack that we've got. So we've been making some lovely moth and energy activities for people to do if they would like to engage a bit more with the world of moths and energies.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Chloe. And I'll just see whether Simon hasn't communicated. And I am enjoying. Let's have a look. I'm just seeing whether Simon has told us whether he's found any.
There hasn't been anything since we left him last.
Is he connected to us?
No.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Hello, Simon.
Nothing doing. And
Look at my hair.
it could be quite tricky this to actually hold
Chloe.
the light and show you. Just swing this around. Hang on. Yeah, so hopefully you can see what I've done here is I painted this stripe of sugar because, of course, moths love a sweet drink, particularly on a cold night like tonight, and particularly the big moths like a sugary drink. I might be able to just show you my concoction here.
Oh, yeah.
Concoction. It's not apricot jam from Waitrose.
No.
But it is. Can you see? Well,
yeah. It looks quite syrupy, Simon. It looks like it's a mixture of sugar and beer and.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, molasses, treacle, and Newcastle brown ale.
All right. Okay.
And the secret ingredient, which is the secret ingredient is whiskey tonight.
Oh, well, they haven't found it.
No, they haven't found it yet. So I'll just go up and I'll message you if there's anything.
Okay. All right then. And while you're doing that, and as we're getting towards the end of our evening, we'll have a little look at our Plymouth Art Weekend installation, and then we'll come back to you. So Annie, do you want to talk?
The Art and Energy Moths to a Flame installation at the plot in Union Street in Plymouth as part of the Plymouth Art Weekender. And here's Jenny, you know her.
So we've got a bit of a display of some of our artworks, our solar artworks. This one was made in Tavistock at the Energy Fest last year. This one here is Chloe's Dawn Breaking. And down here we've got the beginning or work in progress of our cooperative project, which is coming together slowly but surely. If you'd like to be part of that, please do get in touch with me and I can send you a creative pack.
Yeah, what's this light bulb in the middle?
So the idea is that the spaces that you can see that are white there, those will be replaced with solar cells, or they'll have solar cells placed in them, and those will then, during the day, charge a battery, and at night they will illuminate an LED which will be placed inside of there. But my hope is we've got more squares here, is to continue to grow, the same as the project's been growing and evolving.
Yeah. Cool.
And then
great.
Through in this room here, this is the caterpillar room.
I'm going to go through. These lovely prints here.
So these are like And you might recognise Matt Harvey's voice in the background with one of his beautiful Moths to a Flame poems. And these are some of the UV moths, glow-in-the-dark moths that we've been decorating before lockdown with community groups and school children. We'd hope to have a lot more by now, but there's still quite a good whisper going on here.
Oh yeah, because whisper is the term for a collection of moths, which we're enjoying.
And then over here we've got a moth trap, complete with some UV critters who have flown in.
Great. Wow, nice.
And then we've got a table for our augmented reality moth sheets, which unfortunately people can't decorate here at the event because of the COVID side of things. But they will be able to take home an activity pack and do that at home, and a little video of some of the ones we've collected so far. And then finally over on this table, we've got a range of things for sale and to take away for free. So we've got some of Naomi's beautiful cyanotypes, some of Chloe's Oakwood ink drawings, some moth kits to make your own glow-in-the-dark moth to add to the whisper. We've got an etched glass lantern and sonnet. And we've got a whole load of, we're giving away 500 free activity packs with some lovely activity sheets in here, perfect for all ages and abilities. And then we've also had some beautiful plants donated, which are
They're amazing, aren't
plants that are particularly attractive to moths and pollinators.
Yeah, we've got lots of those.
And so people can come along and sort of donate their whisper of hope, tell us what their hopes are for the future, and in exchange they can take away an activity pack and plant.
What's more, they're acting as a nice barrier for distance, which is good as well. But no, we've now seen the whole of the Arts and Energy Moths to a Flame installations, hoping that people enjoy it.
And we're at the plot on Union Street from 11 till 4, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or tomorrow and Sunday. There's lots of space down here for to be able to distance, and the team at Moths doing a fantastic job of limiting numbers through the door and keeping everybody safely distanced. So please do come down and see us if you can.
Okay, so that's what we look like in Plymouth at the plot. And if any of you do want to come down and see us, we'd love to see you. And finally, then back to Simon. What have you found there, Simon?
Well, sadly no moths, but there is a rather beautiful centipede here, which someone like John might be able to identify. Can you see that? Hang on, it's rather tricky to get it. There we go.
Oh, he's long, isn't he?
Yeah, beautiful, sort of silvery, molten silver. So doesn't seem to be sort of feeding on the sugar syrup. Just going for a walk. Yeah, so there is wildlife around, but no moths.
It's a millipede, Simon. John's saying.
Great.
Yeah. And so tomorrow, Simon, have you set your moth trap up as well?
I have indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tomorrow morning in the daylight, we look forward to seeing you with your reveal of moths, and that'll be lovely. And
sure.
It's really interesting this month doing Watch Moths in the dark with people outside in the dark, because all up till now it's stayed light enough to be easy, isn't it? But tonight it's more tricky outside. You have to keep lighting yourself under street lights and things.
Yeah, and that's right, and avoid tripping up on brambles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for putting the sugary stripes on the trees and trying to feed the moths. But we look forward to hearing whether anything did come tonight later. And
I think I got away with it. There was a runner that passed me earlier whilst I was painting this on the trees. He looked a little bit bemused, as you can imagine.
Yes, yes, you have to be careful out in the wilds, don't you, with this, with sugar stripes. So see you tomorrow then. And we have finally come to the end of our Watch Moths Hour, and look forward to seeing all of you, because this is a double bill. It's the same code to get in, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you want to rummage around our website, artandenergy.org, you'll find information about the Plymouth Art Weekender and the Watch Moths, but you'll also find a place to leave your whisper of hope. There's a record button to press, and that whisper of hope will end up with all those decorated moths and be part of the final exhibition, we hope, in Glasgow. So do have a look and join in if you can't come down to the Plymouth Art Weekend. So Jenny, do you want to?
Yeah, so that the recording your audio digital whisper is just over on the side here, and I seem to remember from past experience that unfortunately I can't demonstrate that one through Zoom. It won't show you all the pop-up screens, but it is a very straightforward process, and we would love to hear what it is that you hope for, and it can be as simple or as complex as you'd like, and you can leave as many as you'd like. Really,
keep recording if it's all too much to think of in one go what you would want to do and what you would want to tell world leaders, then just record 10 messages and each one choose a different thing. It might make you feel better about it all as well. So see you tomorrow morning then at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we look forward to it. Right. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow morning. I'm going to press end now, so good night. See you at 8 p.m. bright and early.
Yeah. Bye night.